Yo guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to make your line art from this to this. Okay, so first, if you're using Clip Studio, first thing you want to do is make sure you've got your pen pressure settings to something that you're comfortable with, or if you want to use the pen pressure settings that I'm using, go to file and look for pen pressure settings and then adjust your pen pressure to what you see on screen right now. This is my pen pressure settings that I use on Clip Studio Paint EX. So you guys can use this pen pressure and adjust it to however you like and use what suits you best. Now for the brush that I use to draw my art, I use the sketch color line brush to draw most of my pieces, and then sometimes I don't really do this though, but sometimes I use the LineArt sketch pen and the LineArt sketch pen V2, but this is for only when I'm drawing like dark areas. Like say I'm trying to draw like the inside of like a jacket or something, I would use a really dark brush like a LineArt sketch pen to draw that, or I just use my sketch color line brush and just press really hard, and you know, you get that really dark black with it, because with the sketch color line brush you get like a grayish color. You don't really get like a true black with this. Another thing that helps with drawing good line art is making sure that when you're doing your line art, you're not always pressing so hard all the time, or you're not pressing so softly all the time. So what you could do is like you could draw a line, draw a stroke, and then you can go over it again, but like put more pressure on it to give it like, you know, more more detail in a sense. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do, and yeah, that also really helps improving line art. Also for like edges in your line art, like say if you're drawing a shoulder for example, what you can do is draw the shoulder and like leave a gap. You can leave like a gap in like the line art, or you could draw the whole thing and like in the curve, like the most what's the word, in like the widest curve, like you can add more detail to it by putting more emphasis on the stroke. So in the end you get like more detail. Okay, so another tip that helps with drawing good line art is just like before you even start doing your line art, just make sure that you're happy with your initial sketch that you've done, because you know there's no harm in spending, you know, hours and hours drawing a sketch to make it perfect. Like I do that a lot of times, and you know, it's perfectly fine just making sure like, you know, your sketch is fine, there's no like, you know, incorrect mistakes, because when you're doing your line art you don't want to get into a situation where you're drawing the line art and then, you know, you look at it and then you're like, oh, this doesn't really look that right, I'm gonna have to, you know, change it now after I spent so long on, you know, doing this bit of the line art. So just like take your time and don't rush. Like it took me, like when I was doing my one of my sketches, I think the one you're seeing on screen right now, it took me like like a good 1.5 hours to do the sketch, I think, or maybe even more. But yeah, it took quite a while to get the sketch right, and you know, it just makes your job easier in the end, because once your line art is perfect and once your sketch is perfect and you see no problems with it, then the line art is just a smooth process of just, you know, going over it, making sure the lines are straight, the lines are smooth, you know, they're not wiggly in any sense, you know, there's no like you know, you can see everything perfectly, like it stands out. You want to make sure like the process of doing a line art is as straightforward for you as possible, because it's just gonna make your life so much easier, and it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna look good. Hopefully it does, but yeah, that's basically it. Okay, so another tip that you guys should know for improving your line art is that basically when you're drawing your line art, kind of be relaxed in a sense, like be in a relaxed workflow, you know, don't, you know, stress over it too much. Like, you know, line art shouldn't be the most difficult part of your artwork. It should be, you know, one of the easier parts. Yes, it takes time, and yes, you know, you're, you know, largely doing a lot of the same things over and over again, but you know, that's what art is. Like, you're gonna run into the same processes and, you know, techniques for a lot of things that you're trying to do. So you just got, you know, make it something that's not so much of a chore to do. So just like be relaxed, you know, if you can't get a stroke right, just keep on doing it over and over again, because eventually it's gonna get right. Like, don't be too discouraged if you're trying to draw, like, say a curve on a cheek or something, or, you know, a curve on a leg, and you can't get the curve like straight enough. Like, don't worry too much about stuff like that, because it takes me like about 25 times to get one curve completely perfect. Like, you know, you've just got to think in the sense that, you know, if I keep doing it, it's gonna get right eventually. Like, it could take 89 times or like 536 times to get a flipping curve right, but eventually, you know, you're gonna get it right, and then you're gonna be like, finally, now I can move on to the next curve. You just, you know, gotta keep going and just be relaxed, be in a laid back mood. You know, I listen to music when I draw. You know, it helps me out a lot, especially when you're in a household that's, you know, got a lot of people in it. I just, you know, as I draw, I just listen to music when I'm doing my line art. You know, I'm just laid back, you know, phone off and everything, just, you know, get in the zone, listen to music, just vibe and just draw your line art, because you've got your sketch, you know what everything's supposed to look like. All you're doing is just tracing on top of it and making it look as beautiful as possible. So once you're done, you can, you know, look, you can take a breath and just, you know, look at your beautiful line art in all its glory and just be like, yep, I'm proud of that, and now I can get onto the shading. So, you know, that's another thing that you can do. And one last tip as well is when you're doing like say hair and things, or, you know, just like line art in general, for corners, like really sharp corners, you should like create like kind of like triangles and stuff in them. So make it so like your line art has, you know, triangles and just like black bits that are filling in those corners, because when you're shading and when you're doing the flat color, sometimes it's kind of tricky to get those corners like really filled in, so there's no like spaces in between them. So, you know, instead of having to deal with that, you can just fill the corners, the really tight spaces, just completely fill them with black, and, you know, it helps out. You know, it makes doing the line art, not the line art, it makes doing the flat color a lot easier, and, you know, it's just sometimes satisfying to look at, because you know, it looks good, at least to me. I would hope so for you as well, and, you know, I hope it helps improve your line art in some way, shape or form. I thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could run up the likes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm gonna be uploading a webcomic series really soon, so stay tuned for that. Oh yeah, make sure to check out my friend Izzo's channel if you're into that business agencies and that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much again for sticking around, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.